Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Transfer Talk show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for today's show. We're approaching the halfway mark of January. Not a lot of, I'd say, transfers have been concluded in this month so far. It's been a quiet window, which is no surprise as it was what we experienced last year. But in today's show, we will discuss the latest 20 rumors that have been circulating the internet right now. So we'll go through them together, see if we believe there's any truth to the stories, and then we can have a discussion as well. So let's start with the first rumor. Now, in terms of West Ham, they've just recently appointed Graham Potter as their new manager, and me personally, I think they've made the right decision, as Lopetegui was completely the wrong fit for the club and for the squad of players that they have. Um, now, speaking of their current squad, unfortunately, Fulkrug has picked up an injury and could be out for 2 to 3 months. So, therefore, West Ham are in the market for a striker, and they've been linked with three players in the past few days. So, the first player that I can see on the screen is Evan Ferguson, another player um, who has worked with Graham Potter in the past. Of course, they were together at Brighton, so there's already a connection there. On a personal level, I personally don't rate Ferguson as a striker the way some football fans do. I think he's a decent young striker, but that's pretty much it. People are suggesting that he's going to be the next big striker in the league, like a Harry Kane. For me, he's not that sort of player. I don't think he's got the quality. So on paper, I guess this move would make a lot of sense in terms of his profile, a young striker that can learn off other players within the squad. He'll be given plenty of game time due to Fulkrug's injury, and he's familiar with the coach's philosophy and tactics when it comes to game time. So yeah, I guess ticks the boxes. Me personally, I would probably go for a better striker than Evan Ferguson, but that's just my opinion. Another striker is Jonathan David, the third. So this player, as we all know, plays for Lille. He is in a position right now where he's free to discuss contract terms with other clubs, and in fact, agree a pre-contract deal in order to move for a free transfer in the summer. But because of West Ham's current situation, they may test the waters and see if they can get Jonathan David for a small fee. Um, I don't think Lille will be interested for that sort of deal to take place this month. I think they'll hold out and will only be tempted if a substantial offer is placed on the table. Otherwise, I think they would rather keep the striker for the remainder of the season in order to finish the season as high as possible. They're currently fifth in League One and 14 points adrift from the league leaders, which is of course PSG. So they're not really challenging for the title, but they're in a strong position to qualify for European football again. So I would say they will try their best to keep hold of striker in order to achieve that target. But the main guy that have been recently linked with a move to London Stadium, and that is John Duran. Apparently, West Ham wasted no time and placed an official bid for the striker in the region of £40 million. But unfortunately for West Ham, it was instantly rejected. Remains to be seen if West Ham will return with another bid. But Duran, for me, would be a fantastic coup for the Hammers if they can cough up the funds and place an offer that Villa couldn't refuse. Moving on from West Ham, a player that has been in the spotlight in the last few days. It was revealed, sorry, that he has requested to leave Man City in this window, and that is more or less engineered due to personal reasons. But Kyle Walker, for me, is still a good defender. He's more than capable of playing at the highest level. Two teams that are showing the most interest are AC Milan and Inter Milan. Right now, as it stands, it looks like he could be heading towards the red and black half of Milan. If I was to make a prediction, I think that is the club that he'll join. I don't think Inter Milan um, quite need him at this stage. I feel like he would be a better fit for AC Milan in terms of how they play and the profile of players that they have there. So I think that would be the move that ends up happening this window, but we'll wait and see. Now, Garnacho has found it very difficult to break into this United team, even though it's a mid team and they don't really have any standout attackers. But despite not being a regular starter for United, his stock hasn't dropped as he's generated quite a bit of interest in recent days. Napoli were very strongly linked with the player as they're looking to sign a replacement for Kvaratskhelia, who we all know is on the verge of completing a move to PSG. Another club that is showing interest is Atletico Madrid. Now, there's history between the player and the club as Garnacho came through the ranks at Atletico. So I think this move is quite realistic. I can see it happening. I'm not sure if it will be in this window, but I can see it being a summer transfer. So definitely one to look out for in the coming months rather than the imminent future, I would say. Another Manchester United player that has been linked with move away from the club, and no surprise, is Marcus Rashford. Now, his agent is certainly working overtime right now to get his client a move away from the club. He has been linked with a move within the Premier League. He was linked with a move to Arsenal last week, but there may be an indication that Rashford would like to test the waters elsewhere and play abroad. Apparently, the recent clubs that have been linked to him are Napoli, AC Milan, and as you can see on the screen, Barcelona. But I don't think neither of these clubs are in a position to sign a player as he could command a hefty price tag. Of course, not him, but as in Manchester United might demand a big transfer fee. And of course, in terms of his salary requirements, could break the wage structure at these clubs. So let's see what happens with Rashford. If I was to make a bold prediction, I can see him ending up in Saudi Arabia and possibly playing there for like a year or two and then returning back to Europe in the future. Because right now, that would be the move where he gets the big contract that he's probably after. He won't be played. He won't be playing in such a high intensity environment in terms of winning trophies or to that magnitude. So I feel like that would probably suit him at this stage of his career. And then if he wants to return to Europe, there will certainly be interest for him in the Premier League and other clubs as well. So that would be my prediction, but at this stage, very, very hard to tell. Another player that was heavily linked with a move to Premier League, and that was Kolo Muani. But today it was revealed that he is very close to moving to Juventus on a loan move, which I kind of expected, as it seemed like Serie A was the most likely destination for the striker. So the big question is, where does that put Aston Villa? Well, they didn't waste any time as they confirmed a new signing yesterday in Malen, a player that I'm sure we're all familiar with, the Dutchman, ends all the speculation and finally puts pen to paper as he makes it official. Me personally, I think this is a great signing for Villa. He's a player that can play on the wings, that can also play up top if required. So he'll provide quality and depth into this Villa squad and Villa attack. And I think that's exactly the profile that they needed. So I'll be interested to see how he does in the Premier League. Of course, he was a former Arsenal player in his youth days, didn't really break into the first team, so it'll be his first time really testing out the waters when it comes to playing Premier League football. So definitely one to look forward to. Now, Guehi is being linked with a return to his former club. Palace would demand a huge transfer fee. They already rejected multiple offers for their captain last summer. Newcastle will be notably making 4 or 5 bids in the space of 2 weeks. But when it comes to Chelsea, it seems like money isn't a problem at West London. So can I see this deal happening? For some reason, I'm not so sure. They have a lot of left-footed centre backs in their team, or should I say, in their squad. So signing another one doesn't make the most sense. However, they may see Guehi as a huge upgrade on the current left-footed centre backs who are Kobel and Balashile. My personal opinion, I don't rate Guehi above Kobel, for example. I think Kobel is a better all-round defender, but that's just my opinion. So let's see if there's any legs to this rumor in the coming days. I'm sure we'll get a clearer picture very soon. Now, this rumor certainly surprised me, as the player was strongly linked with a move to join his compatriot at Liverpool, but it looks like Man City have stepped ahead of the queue and look to be on the verge of signing this striker who's been on a goal scoring streak this season. The fee is rumored to be around £80 million, which is quite a hefty one if I'm being honest. But I'm not so sure if he's the right player to join Man City. He predominantly plays as a striker, but can also play as a wide forward if required. So if you're looking at the current Man City team, he's not displacing Haaland up top, and nor is he displacing Savinho and Foden in the team. So he's been brought in to be a squad player. If I was him, I would complete the season with Frankfurt because he's in such great form right now, and I'm sure he will be flooded with a lot of interest in the summer, and I'm sure there will be bids placed on the table for him. So that would be the time to, you know, take a seat back, assess his options, and make the right decision from the summer onwards. So right now, I'm not too sure. It's definitely one to watch, as some media outlets believe that the deal is very, very close to be concluded. So only time will tell. Now, not the name that Liverpool fans would want to be affiliated with the club. Um, of course, it's not the player that used to play for Liverpool back in the day. Um, and he's not Jamie Carragher's best friend either. But El Hadj Diouf, or Malik Diouf, I should say, is being linked with a move to Liverpool. Now, in terms of his profile, the Stabia Prague player is a left back by trade, and it's an area that certainly needs addressing in the team, in my opinion. But I'll be brutally honest, I haven't seen him in action to give you a thorough analysis of the player. But what I do know is that he's an all-round defender, very tall. He's actually 6'2", so quite tall for a left back. Uh, Crossing ability is decent from what I've heard, but still very raw, as he's a young player, still learning his trade. For me, I would like the club to target a different profile, someone that has played a lot more games and would be regarded as a more assured signing rather than signing an unknown player in Diouf who hasn't really played at a elite level in my opinion. So let's see. I personally don't think there's too much truth to the rumor. Um, at this stage, I think it's all paper talk, but we'll soon find out, I guess. Now, this is a surprise for me, that the player is being linked to a move away from Liverpool. Harvey Elliott has shown little glimpses of his talent under Arne Slot, but not enough to break into the team. And according to rumours, Arne Slot believes it would be more beneficial for Elliott to move on and get some first team football elsewhere. Personally, I haven't given up on Harvey Elliott. I feel like he could certainly have an impact in this team this season. But if the coach um, doesn't have the faith in the player, then obviously the question marks will be presented to us. I don't think he's given Elliott enough opportunities to showcase his talent in this Liverpool team. Um, but in terms of this rumor, I don't see it happening in this window. I think it's very unlikely that Liverpool will ways with a player at this stage of our season where we're in such a strong position, fighting for all cylinders. So each member is very valuable to our objectives in order to win silverware. But if we're going into the summer and let's say both the player and the club assess the situation and Elliott's not getting much game time, or it's been communicated to him that he's surplus to requirements, then fortunately Elliott may have to look to move clubs in the summer, which I'm sure he wouldn't want to do. He's a boyhood Liverpool fan, but obviously his career comes first. So let's see what happens. I don't really think there's too much truth to this rumor. I still think Arsenal rates the player, um, but let's see. He may have other targets in mind that would come in and replace Elliott, or would be regarded as an upgrade to Elliott in the team. So we'll see what happens with Harvey Elliott in terms of his future at the club. Now, this former Man City player has been linked with a return to the Premier League. The move to Juventus hasn't exactly gone to plan, and apparently he's available on a loan deal. I'm not sure if his girlfriend will be happy about this, as she also moved to Juventus because of Douglas Luiz. So now, in terms of this rumor, a loan move to City, is it the right sort of move for both club and player? I think it's a logical one in terms of what the club needs. They need a defensive midfielder due to Rodri's absence right now. But something tells me that he's not the type of player that they're looking for, or the profile or the quality of a player that they need. Because obviously they sold him a few years ago, but you never know. It might be due to his um, experience in the Premier League, and of course he's been around the club in some shape or form. It might be a useful addition to have for the remainder of the season. But I definitely think it is keeping one eye on this rumor. It could have some legs, but at this stage, I'm not quite so sure. Now, crazy rumor circling in the last few days that Manchester United are ready to sell Kobe Mainoo in order to raise funds, which is ludicrous, in my opinion. Chelsea were linked to him not so long ago, but Bayern Munich have placed their name in the hat to sign the talented midfielder. Now, if United are serious about selling the player, it would be a shame for Mainoo, who I'm sure dreams of playing for his boyhood club for years and years. But if you look at the club that's showing interest in the player, Bayern Munich would be a great fit for him. And I think he would do really well there in terms of fitting in terms of the formation and the style of play at Bayern Munich. Now, United fans will lose their marbles if he was to depart this month. Even though it seems very unlikely, it can't be completely ruled out because there has been noise that they are trying to generate funds in order to help Amorim sign players in the future, whether it's this month or in the summer. So we'll have to wait and see. But at this stage, seems unlikely, in my opinion. Now, the Nigerian fullback Ola Aina is having a sensational season for his Nottingham Forest team. And so there's no surprise that he's been linked with a move to a top club. And recently, Man City have shown interest in the player. Now, with Carl Walker set to leave, there is an opening for a right back to be signed at Man City. Now, is Ola Aina the right fit? For me, absolutely. I think he's a very good player and he's having a fantastic season for Nottingham Forest. But if I'm being brutally honest, would I would say it's quite harsh for him to depart Forest mid-season where they're having probably the best season of their lives right now. Um, so someone move for me would make more sense when the season has concluded and then he can assess his options from there onwards. But you never know. A huge contract offer or certain terms might sway the player to leave this month. Hopefully, that's not the case for Forest because I feel like they've had such a great season. It would be a shame to see, one of their top performers leave um, for a bigger paycheck, if you put it in that way. So let's see. I'm not too sure if there's any truth to rumors for Ola Aina to move this month, but you never know in the summer. It could be a possibility. Dewsbury-Hall. The forgotten man at Chelsea is being linked with a move to West Ham. Graham Potter is certainly trying to strengthen his squad and is asking for a favour from his former employer. Now, in terms of the possibility of this deal happening, I can see it happening, to be fair. It's a loan move that's been mooted right now, and it'll be a straightforward deal. As I don't think there's a lot of interest in the player, nor has he played much for Chelsea this season. So not to be real, I don't think he'll be missed if he departs for the short term. So I can see this move happening in this window. This kid is a very, very talented player and has been tearing up for Dortmund, especially in the Champions League. Now, the English winger is being linked with a return to England. Aston Villa seem to be the club showing some interest, but I think this deal is a non-starter as they've already signed a player, ironically from the same club, in Donyell Malen. So I don't see them signing two players that more or less play in the same position. So for me, this is all paper talk to try and generate interest in the player. But don't forget his name. He will be playing at the Premier League in some shape or form, in my opinion. I feel like he's I guess the next player to help raise the funds at Dortmund because he's a very talented player and will be sought after in this summer window, possibly next year as well. He's quite a young player, but I do feel like he's got a great future ahead of himself. Speaking of future, I've got a young striker linked here um, to Liverpool. 19-year-old Greek striker who currently plies his trade in Nuremberg in the Bundesliga 2. He goes by the name of Stefan Tzimas. Liverpool have apparently held talks to sign the player for the summer and not for this window. The fee is rumored to be around £20 million. I'll be brutally honest, guys, I haven't seen much of him, so I can't really give a strong opinion on the player or the transfer move. Personally, I think it's all paper talk, as we're already quite heavily stocked in that attacking department. But you never know, we might be future proofing um, our attacking options in the next window. We seem to have done that with the goalkeeping department. Maybe it's a tactic for the attacking department. Who knows? Only time will tell. And the final rumor is Darwin Nunez. Oh yeah, I've got another rumor after. So two more rumors there. So Darwin Nunez, um, apparently looks like could be departing from Liverpool very soon. The current rumor is that apparently Saudi team Al Hilal placed an opening offer of £70 million, which got rejected by the club. Now, normally Richard Hughes is the man that is responsible for player negotiations and contract dealings, but it's been suggested that Michael Edwards has got off his high horse to get involved and get this deal over the line, as the club are seeking £85 million in order to balance the books. That is the fee that would, I guess, complete the whole package of Nunez's transfer. Obviously, he was signed for £64 million plus add-ons. But if we were to win the league and the Champions League, then it will rise to 85 million. So, look, I'll be honest with you, as a Liverpool fan, I would have bitten Al Hilal's hand off for that 17 million offer. For me, that was a no-brainer. So, I'm quite surprised that the club have rejected the deal. But I'm hoping Michael Edwards can do his magic and get that 85 million that he's pursuing right now. Otherwise, if this deal doesn't get concluded or if it, you know, goes down the drain, then that is a missed opportunity for the club to gain maximum revenue there. And also, in my opinion, a player that is simply not good enough for the club. And I believe that it's time for the player and the club to move on. But we'll soon find out in terms of what is the future of Darwin Nunez. Um, I'll also say this as well. If he was to leave this window, I don't want us to sign us and wait for a striker to join in the summer. I'd want a replacement right now in this window. And the market right now is not very, you know, easy to attain top level strikers right now. The one player that I want, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say his name quite a few times on the channel, is Isak, and that's the guy that I really want Liverpool to sign. Whether that's a realistic deal, I'm not too sure, but we'll see. American dream in terms of potential signings for Liverpool. We'll soon find out, I guess, in the coming weeks, and let's see what the future holds for Darwin Nunez. And the final rumor is Martin Zubimendi. Now, this news will certainly cause a bit of an uproar amongst the Liverpool fan base, as Ruandi was very close to joining the club last summer, if you believe the rumours. But right now, another club is showing interest, and that is Arsenal. Apparently, Arsenal are expecting Thomas Partey to leave at the end of the season and have highlighted Zubmendi as the man to replace the Ghanaian midfielder. Don't get me wrong, Zubmendi is a fantastic player, someone I really rate, but I just don't see this move happening. Even though it's been regarded as a move for the summer, I don't see him leaving his boyhood club. Remember, he's actually rejected Arsenal in the past for similar reasons. So what's changed? Some have suggested that Arteta and Zubimendi are from the same town, because Arteta did start his career at Sociedad. So there is some level of mutual understanding and connection between the two, and that could be a way to get him on board in order for him to join this North London team. for me, I don't think that's enough to sway someone to jump ship and leave his familiar surroundings because that's definitely been a key part in terms of why he's rejected moves in the past. So I don't see this deal happening, unfortunately, for Arsenal fans, but I could be wrong. Only time will tell. So that is it for today, guys, in terms of my transfer rumors. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for watching live. What I'll do now is I'll go through some of the comments and then we'll conclude the show. There you go. Um, Ashik Bihari says hi. Be yourself, Ashik. Thank you for tuning in. Uh, YouTube with sorry, football with ends. Big up yourself, ends. He said, "Bro, can you turn on redirect in your YouTube studio so I can when I'm done my stream. I'll look into it." And yeah, sorry, I've not been able to look into it. I know you mentioned it in the last show as well, so I'll try and sort it out. Yeah, so big up yourself, ends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing your support there. Abdul says, hi, I was in chat. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Welcome salam to you, Abdul. I'm doing good. Thank you. I hope you are well. He says, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We need to stop the draw. Keep on winning. Many thanks. Be up yourself as always. Um, Abdul said, we need left back, right back, centre back, DM, and number 9. I definitely agree in terms of those positions. Not right back. I still feel like Trent is the guy going forward. But yes, those are the areas that definitely need to be addressed in the future. But when I say future, thinking more towards the summer rather than this window. I just don't see, 2 weeks left. That's a lot to do in 2 weeks. So our club do not move in that sort of speed. So it's not going to happen. After saying El Haj Diouf again, flashback. Yeah, that name doesn't resonate very well with the Liverpool fan base. So obviously, we shouldn't dispel the player because of his name. But yeah, when I saw that pop out, that's the first thought you had. So yeah, I can understand why fans, you know, felt a certain type of way when they saw that rumor being linked to the club. Abdul says Aina, Kirkes, Murillo, Edison, and Isak interest by Liverpool. Well, Aina would be an interesting one, to be fair, but not in terms of replacing Trent for me. That's they're not on the same level. So Kirkes is an interesting profile for left back. Definitely one to keep an eye on. I wouldn't mind him at left back, to be fair. A player that I want, as you point out, Abdul, is Hato from Ajax. That's the one that I really want. Um, but Kirkis wouldn't be far off my list. I think he has the potential to be a really top left back, and he's not just one of those left backs that's um, the best when it comes to attacking play. Because a lot of our modern day fullbacks, they're more attack minded. They're more suited to play wing back roles more than fullback. For me, he's a fullback. He can do the defending element and he can play from an attacking point of view as well. So for me, fits the right profile there. Murillo, watched him yesterday in the Forest game, Forest and Liverpool game. He looked good, really good player, strong, physical, athletic, decent technique on the ball as well. Can shoot, when he needs to. Um, so yeah, he'll definitely have a lot of interest. Whether he's fit for Liverpool, I'm not too sure personally. I don't see him being a starter if he was to join Liverpool. He's not displacing Van Dijk, nor is he displacing a fully fit Konate, in my opinion. So no, I don't know if there's any truth to those sort of rumors circling about Murillo to Liverpool. Ellison, yeah, his name does, appear on and off um, as the season goes on. I'm not too sure on Ellison. I really wanted Ellison at one point, but then I haven't seen much of him this season, so I don't know if he's still playing at the highest level. The only time I remember watching him against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and I was impressed with his performance in that game. But has he been consistent enough? I can't really say because I haven't watched him that much this season. Uh, but he's a player that I feel like would be a good addition to this team. However, I kind of want someone to be a main starter alongside Gravenberch. So if that means Macalis has to drop, it has to be someone that's really, really good. So that's something we've got to look forward to, I guess. But we'll see in terms of who the club analyze or profile as the next CDM in the team, because it's definitely a position that needs to be addressed in the future. And Isak, yeah, me and you on the same wavelength there. Isak is the guy. I don't think there's anyone else that rivals that number 9 role for me at Liverpool. I think he is the one that we need to get. So whatever it happens, It remains to be seen. We'll only find out. We need to stop with mistakes and errors in our game. Stop the draw. Yeah, we do need to stop dropping points. But I still think the point against Forest wasn't a bad point in the end. I think if you look at the context in terms of the game and the opposition, who are second or probably third, and I think Arsenal won, so the third in the league now. They're a good team, and the way they play football might not appeal to the neutral fan, but they're getting the job done, and you can't really argue with that. So for me, you have to look at the team where they are in the league rather than the name, because the name Forest, you might look at them as a relegation team. They're not playing that like that this season. So for me, it's still a good point. Don't get me wrong, we didn't play our best. We were wasteful, especially towards the end of the game. We should have scored, in my opinion. As in, I'm saying we should have scored the winner because we had quite a few chances, but their goalkeeper, Matt Sells, was on fire and was producing incredible saves left, right, and centre. So he just had one of those games where he was on top form, and he has been throughout the season, to be fair. So, unfortunately, we were denied by his goalkeeping skills. But sometimes those things happen. But I'm looking at it in a more positive way. I feel like it's still a good point. So onwards and upwards, we've got Brentford in about 2, 3 days. We played them on Saturday afternoon. So yeah, not long to go. Be a big decision in terms of who we start in that game, which I'll cover tomorrow. So yeah, lots to look forward to in terms of upcoming fixtures and of course upcoming shows on the channel. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to Ashik, Enz, and Abdul for your comments. Appreciate your engagement as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. As I just mentioned briefly, I will be doing a match preview tomorrow of the game between Brentford and Liverpool. And then on Saturday, I'll be doing the live watching of that game, plus a match reaction later in the evening. So make sure you hit those notification bells so you know what time I'm going live. You can also follow me on social media for all the latest updates. You can follow me at Aussie.ftp on Instagram, and you can also follow me at Aussie_FTP on X/Twitter. So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.